Hello, witches.
Hi, witches. How are you?
We
might need to go
live.
back further so our heads are.
So here we are again at my imperfect studio, kitchen table, dining room table. Oh, look, you can see Tank over there. There's Tankers. Usually there's a more zoomed in view of us, but because we want to do show and tell,
We need a little bit of space, which isn't actually a lot of space. Do you think we should move this back?
No, because we purposely chose altars that are smaller so that we could show you, and we're gonna go through. Well, first, I guess I should introduce the video.
We just
jump into stuff,
start talking.
Okay, you can tell we're excited. Yes, tonight we are going over 3 altars for the Undercover Witch or the witch that's out, but this gears some altars towards people who maybe are not yet comfortable displaying items that really designate you as a witch, which is like, a pentagram or a pentacle or whatever the symbols are that you think are a little too witchy for when people might pop over, or
let's say you're having like all your relatives over for Christmas dinner or
Yes.
Yule dinner.
Yeah.
And you want to be more discreet about your practice,
right?
But you still want to honor the holidays. And also we have like one of the altars is literally for like bringing peace in to an environment.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a lot of people coming over, that could be a good thing to have.
You want to be able to do that. Okay.
So we're calling this little 3-week series here Undercover Witchcraft, because this is for the witches who are going to be, a little bit.
Maybe you just don't want to have the conversation during this time of year. Yeah. You can still fully celebrate the Yule season because in America, we have all the things associated with the pagan holiday of Yule just pushed into the Christmas attire of everything. So it's beautiful. It blends together beautifully. But that is why we're doing this based on things where you don't have to have the conversation. You don't have to be super out there with anything. And that's why we kind of chose the undercover side of it, especially for the altars. An altar is a sacred place for you that has things that are meaningful for you. Nobody should be telling you what to put on your altar, that you must have, that you must do.
There's no certain way it has to
preference.
be. It doesn't have to be laid out any certain way. Nope. There's none of those kinds of requirements. Yeah. This is what looks good, feels good, makes sense to you. What do you have around your house?
What do you have, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to spend money on a lot of stuff.
Run out and buy a bunch of things, not necessary.
We're going to teach you some symbology of Yule so that you can add these elements into your altars, that now you will know the symbology of it so that you can recognize it as a Yule symbol for the winter solstice, which is coming up December 21st. And it always happens right around this time, December 21st, 22nd, 20th, you gotta check it. But Yule for me is like 3 weeks long.
Is it backwards? It's backwards.
We're going to have Illuya. It almost looks like July. You can't, then you have to flip the E.
I have to flip the E.
Look at us waiting. What's that? No.
Why you?
Yeah. No. We can spell really, but there you go.
Okay,
the backwardsness of it.
Yeah, so we didn't want you to have to look at it backwards.
No, Tracy said it's right for her. Oh no.
Is it right for you?
Is backwards now.
Is it correct?
I love this. No, it's backwards.
Oh, really?
It's right for us.
Okay. So.
Love it. Okay. No, so now I'm like, it has to be backwards. This is not the important part of the meeting today at all.
Listen, but
when I started doing my altars for the different holidays, these little paper letters are from the Christian craft store known as Hobby Lobby that I buy them from, and they're like $1.50 a piece. And I like to put the word out of the holidays. So I have paper letters for all the holidays. Sometimes I paint them and decorate them, but my style is pretty nature-based, so this works for me. This light brown is nice for me.
All right, we go with the first little one?
Yeah, then I think so. We're going to do the altar that first has symbology of just the Yule holiday. So its sole purpose is just like you want to acknowledge the season. This is a type of altar that you can put out. And these are ideas, not hard and fast rules. So remember, write down your ideas of things that you might want to put, things that you like. It's got to come way back.
Way back.
So I'm not sure that the letters are fitting with it, but this is what one of my small altars looks like at home. when I have like a tray, we're using cats. Cat has a little star plate, super cute. But this is a representation of the colors within Yule. So because Yule is about the sun and the sun coming back, right? The winter solstice is our longest night of the year. And why we want to talk about the sun is that we're all freezing our asses off and we don't want to. We want the sun to come back. So we're actually trying to encourage the sun to come back, to stay lit, to bring in the warmth. So colors and symbols associated with the sun are what's really big on this holiday. Also, evergreens, things that don't die off, that remind us that life will always continue on, that the cycle is always there. Evergreens are an important part of this as well. So this is a definite fake branch with fake snow because I live in Florida and we don't get any of that here. It's hot, it's like 80 degrees, but I still like the symbology of Yule. So I do buy some things that have, like a northern look to them. Like, oh, look, snow. It's so pretty and not cold at
Snow
all.
on a pine tree.
So any of the evergreens that you have, and it could be any tree that doesn't drop its leaves that you want to put into your altars, is a great way to symbolize that the cycle continues, that even when things go dormant or die, they come back. So it's always talking about the circle. I have a little clip of pine cones. Sometimes I put this onto the Christmas tree or I put it onto other stuff. And you're going to hear us say Christmas, and that's okay. We understand that Christmas is the Christian word for the holiday. That's all right. Don't feel bad. Don't always have to say Yule. That's okay. We can acknowledge both of them. Christmas has become something not that related to the birth of Jesus in my life. I mean, I don't have any nativity scenes or anything like that. But if you do, that is also okay. This is a blending of cultures that come together. And even for us, we're in Florida, these things some of this doesn't exist down here because we're in warm weather. So just do what makes you feel good. That's the point of all of that. You're going to hear a lot of, back and forth about it, but just do what feels good for you. So I do have pine trees in my yard. These are not from that. I bought these because they have glitter on them, but it's just another decor that I feel like really brings me back to nature. Because when we're talking about the sun, I relate that to the root chakra, the color red, and that we're trying to ground ourselves and remember that we still have purpose and we can still have passion. The winter solstice is about going inside sometimes also, like the winter for us. So anything that represents that for you.
This is also a fire holiday.
A fire holiday,
this is
yeah.
A fire holiday.
Yeah.
So all things fire are appropriate.
This is from my yard. This is just a pine tree branch that broke, and then I put it into a little log because I haven't really done the traditional Yule log stuff. I have fires every year. I do things within my fires, but for the traditional Yule log, the way that it's meant to be from the old country, I don't do that. So I have symbols of Yule logs. So that's my symbology with that. And then, of course, this is a candle that I made because I'm crafty. Oh, there it is. I knew it. My citrine. I told my mom I didn't see it. So you can find, if you want to do stones, scents, colors, all of these things you can use to make your altar what you want it to be. This just happens to be a candle that I made. The scent in here is actually bergamot orange. So it's not really it could be Christmassy, but that's not what you would think about at Christmas time. But the color for me matches, and I like the scent of it where I live. So this is what I've chose. For my air fresheners during this time of year, I always try to bring in evergreen smells because we don't really get that, No. And I love it. They ship in like evergreen. Well, they actually do Christmas trees, right? But then they do the wreaths at the stores that are made of the real evergreen. And I love it so much. It smells so good. I love that. So this is one example of an altar that's just for celebrating Yule that you can put out that doesn't necessarily say anything about being witchy. It just shows nature elements and things connected to the holiday. I almost was like, do you have any questions? But if there's anything, this is one of them. Do you have anything that you want to mention about it, or did I talk a lot? Yeah.
No, you're fine. No, there's nothing. Nope.
No. Okay. So we got the word, we got colors, we got the symbols of it, fire, of course. So candles are important. How are we going to do this? You're going to put it back. Okay.
I'm going to put it back over here.
Next.
And then do you want to do ancestor next?
Yeah, let's do the ancestor.
So the next thing we're going to show you is an ancestor altar.
And I'm going to let you talk now.
Okay.
Put you on the spot.
So I'm going to take things off of here so that you can see what we have. Just got a little bitty like mirrored dish that I love. And with an ancestor altar, you would have pictures of your ancestors. These are actually pictures of
that is me in like second grade.
These are pictures of my children because they were the smallest frames that I have in the house.
Yeah, as an
that
example.
would fit. So, you know, if you get the opportunity to find little frames like that you can pick up at like the dollar store or whatever, grab them because you may want to use them on a small altar like this, or on a small altar
in small spaces.
Small spaces.
Depending on how many people you've known or what kind of ancestors you really want to honor or connect with, you know, it could be anybody who's crossed over. It could be whatever you want it to be. But for us, it was like when we think of an ancestor altar, we're thinking of pictures of people that are from our, you know, family group. Well, our family group is very small, so the persons that have passed in our life is limited, and we don't have tiny pictures of them yet. So we're using the school pictures from circa 1991. Probably
something
what's Jolene, like
86,
four maybe, like 90, 91, somewhere in there. Just to show you that you can put other symbols within the pictures. You don't have to have, if you don't know the ancestors, you can put names. You could, if you do like the genealogy stuff, you could write in the names. You know, you could make a sigil out of the names even and make that artwork with it.
That's on our list, isn't it?
It is. So anything that represents who you're trying to represent.
Okay. So the other thing that we have on this altar, because we have pictures and flammable, we've got an electric candle.
Yeah.
As part of the altar. And then we've got
marigold,
a jar of just dried marigolds. And this is, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, this is, so this is my bottle that I use in all my altars that need to represent gold. And I got this in 2001. It's from Japan. When they go to their cemeteries, they take with them certain items, these massive bundles of incense that they burn, and they stick it into these gold rocks, sort of as a weighted thing, and let it burn down into the ash. So this would be like the sand in an ashtray kind of, but for incense. And I was not allowed to have fire and light things where I lived. So instead, I just kept the sand with it and the smell. So like together, it was symbology for me. And I've had this jar for a very long time, and it goes on altars when I want to represent gold or, you know,
yellow
cemeteries, dead people. I don't know, things like that. It's just that's what it reminds me of, because I know that it's a cemetery.
Oh gosh, you know, you could even bring in. I just thought you could go get dirt if you have a loved one that's got a burial space that you visit. You could actually pick up dirt from
their
cemetery, from there, and have it in a little jar as a symbol of that. And then we have a little wreath again. That's some outdoor.
So a circle.
Oh, that's
that's why I have it on here. Circles represent the sun. So if you have circle anything, wreaths of any kind, any circles that you want to make, circles are the symbol for the sun. And that is why I love wreaths, because they're all about sunshine. But if I had this altar at home, I would have it backed against a wall where I could have this behind it so that it would stay up. Yeah, because that is representative of the sun. We've got the marigold, which is a sunflower. You know, it represents the energy of the sun. The electric candle, this is again still light, it's still power, it's still shining something bright. And then gold, also brightness, warmth. Yeah, that is just one example of a ancestor altar.
Do you want to show the other ancestor altar?
So I did.
We have a big ancestor, a real. Well,
it is my altar.
It is an altar.
It's my altar. So. You know, like I said, there's no rules with altars, you guys. And in my household, the way that I decorate things, I make altar spaces behind pictures, taped under tables. Like I hide my stuff because, you know, I don't need people questioning what I do. So one of my altars is really to honor my father who died and my husband's daughter who was killed. So we have this giant, just photos. And you know, this is an old picture of my mom and my dad. This is my dad when we were out fishing, and this is us visiting a museum because we're both artists. And then these little, I can't remember what they say now. We love you and wish you were here. These were drawn by one of my husband's granddaughters to go on the board for us. And then these are pictures of my husband and his daughter and his youngest son, and then her family all together, and then her as a baby. So he picked these pictures out to represent her. But this hangs in my family gua inside my home, which is the energy center representing family within your home. And that's where I have this altar. I also have a really large tree because that symbolizes family for me. It's not a real tree. It's a gold tree. Like, what would you call that? The decor that I have. That big tree by the
that's
thing.
the tree of life. It's a brass tree of life, isn't it?
It's not a tree of life because it doesn't have the circle around it, but it looks like the tree of life without the circle.
It's a big
piece of artwork.
Big piece of artwork.
Yeah.
So hold on.
And then my mom.
So this is, which dog was this?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I think this was Zoe. So
Zoe Michelle.
This was our dog back probably when those pictures were taken of the kids when Jamie was.
No, this would have been like, she passed in 2000 something. So we got her in 99 when I went to the Navy.
Really?
Oh, maybe the year before. Yeah, because Shy died.
Shy died. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you can even add, because our pets,
their family
and our pets. So I would definitely put
that would go with the Ancestor Altar.
Go with the Ancestor Altar.
And you can see that, like, just writing things down within them, words like love and family and honor, wish you were here. You can put out food or smells that are associated with them if you want. Also, having little things that are meaningful for you that other people will see it and they won't think twice. They'll just be like, oh, you have a random pack of Oreo cookies next to
that's
her
picture. Last dog tag. That's what this is in here. Yeah. So, yeah.
She was great. She was a black chow chow type dog.
Black chow chow.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, and now we have, do you want to talk about any of those?
No, I think I went through it.
Okay. So now we're going to show you
the big one.
The big one.
Meaning that it's going to take up the most space. So we're probably going to have to scooch it back just a little bit. Because this looks more like something would have as decor within their home for Christmas or another type of holiday. But I'm going to show you how this can represent Yule for you. So when I moved to Florida, obviously, we don't have Christmas colors here. There's not snow. Red doesn't go with the beach. It's just the whole thing. So for a long time, I did blue Christmas decorations because I feel like that's very Florida. So I have these from one of my first Christmas trees when I moved here that they would just stick inside there. And it's just little, again, from a craft store, the little fake branches of stuff. And then the blue, this is the calming altar. That's what we should have said, actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. This is the peace and calming altar for your household.
This is the one for when you have all that energy in your house.
Yes.
And you want to bring down the
have something that is to represent calm, peace. The words that I wrote down specifically were peace, harmony, and to de-stress situations.
And you could actually take those words and write them and tape them to the bottom of your altar to bring that energy in and just reinforce the message that you're putting out, the energy that you're putting out with your altar.
Yeah. Because, I'm going to show you what I do with my altars where they're not obvious to other people. This is how I think about it as recharge them, or I just recommit to that altar when I see it and I'm feeling the opposite way that the altar is supposed to bring in. Maybe I'm stressed out and I'm like, oh, I need to recenter myself. I'll go to the altar and then I'll repeat the words that are associated with this, breathe slow and be like, okay, nope, this is about just not stressing out. Don't let things bother me. It's all going to work out okay. And I'll say that to myself and I'll be there with the altar while kind of mumbling to myself and thinking about how I want to be the vibe that I tried to create with that altar. So on here, we've got the blues because blue is that calming color. It's to bring in the calmness. White is for purity. So this is sort of representing cleansing the space, cleansing off people's old emotions. This is just another set of flowers because it's pretty and it makes me feel good when I look at it, but it fits with the color scheme of the blues, the whites, the purples. We've got greens in here. So remember that when you see the greens, that's just representing the evergreen. It doesn't have to be an evergreen piece, but the green is there to say that life goes on, that the circle continues, that things continue to bloom afterwards. Then when we move forward, I even have, I know I said this is the Florida type Christmas one, but I love these little houses that look like they're covered in snow and it's very glittery and it's made from teeny tiny little pine cones, and it's so my vibe. I would live in this house if I could. So that is sitting on the altar because it's not blatantly Christmas, and it fits with the decor, as well as this wooden star that went with that tree that I painted. That's just a mixture of like blue, and it looks really weird on camera. It's more blended than it looks on the camera right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I just painted it because I wanted blue stars. That's one of the things that I like. And of course, the star for me, I imagine it as an actual pinnacle and not just a pentagram. But the star in general for me is like a witchcraft symbol. So then inside here, we have just regular table salt because I forgot my other salt. So Kat let me use her table salt, but it works the same. And I'm going to teach you a trick really quick if you want to make your own incense out of like the cheapest materials possible. You can grab table salt and a scented oil, and it could be the expensive kind. It's like aromatherapy that you can put on your skin, or it can be stuff that you scent candles with that you can get at a craft store. And all you're going to do is pour. You don't need measurements. Do as much as you want. You're just going to, will you hold that for me? Yep. Thanks, because I screwed this back on so I didn't spill it. All you're going to do is put some salt in there, add some of your essential oils of whatever kind, candle making oils, doesn't matter. The smell is what's important. Put it into the salt, and Kat, will you please stir that? And you're just stirring the salt
and
with the
you can really
oils.
Smell it.
Yeah.
It really has a nice.
It's concentrated scent.
Yeah.
Right?
So it really,
the whole room
really,
smells like lavender.
It smells
so
really nice.
I picked lavender because, again, we're bringing in calming and peace. And what you can do when you have something like this on here. So number one, it's white. It kind of looks like snow. I live in Florida. That works for me. And when you mix it up, like say you're feeling stressed, go over here and mix this puppy up, and you're like, oh, okay, that's very relaxing and calming.
And it is.
And then when people see you do it, they're like, oh, wow. And you'd be like, I made my incense. Look at me. I'm crafty. See? So that is part of bringing in a smell. And you could do that with any scents that you like. You could do it with an evergreen scent, anywhere where they sell that stuff. You're not going to be ingesting it or putting it on your skin, so you don't have to get, food grade or skin grade oils. They can be pretty inexpensive. This big bottle, which has lasted me a long time, was about $12 on Amazon. Okay, lastly, of course, we have a candle not lit. It's just a representation of the fire for the sun. The round candle holder, representation for the sun. So I would have chose a better looking gold candle, but this is what I had at the time. So I did not, besides putting this together, these are all things that are just at my house, laying around, at Kat's house, because we used all her dishes. And I threw them together in order to just show you, like, pick the things that you have that represent for you the feeling that you want. Give it a dedication. Maybe you want, peace and not stressfulness, no fights. Maybe you want just the nature-based part or an ancestry thing. Whatever you want to feel or think about during this season, you can build an altar for. And it is that easy. No.
And nobody would look at it. It's not overtly witchy.
No, right.
So no one would look at it and think anything about it. And
no.
you know that.
I actually feel like this one looks like it belongs in the bathroom, because this sort of looks like stuff you'd put in your bath, and the oils, which you could put it in there. It's just salt and oil. It won't hurt you in the bath. But yeah, it's just kind of these little things that if you know the symbols of them, that's all that matters. If you know what it represents for you, that's all that matters. You don't have to, find a picture off Instagram and then try to recreate that, or off Pinterest.
Yeah.
You just look around your house at the things that you think could represent.
I think sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make things look a certain way. We got, you could add, like, these are just regular, like, bells is another thing.
Yeah, bells
for this time of year. So put them anywhere. And
you got the gold with it, the colors, the green, red. Listen, most of the colors have multiple meanings. So if you, like me, I didn't like red for a long time. So it was never in my house. I didn't care that it was Christmas time. There's no red. Now I've grown and I've accepted my root chakra more. I've done the work. And so now when I see red, it doesn't feel like an affront to my senses. And I can appreciate what it stands for. So when I see red stuff, she's wearing red. Yeah. See, when I see stuff, I don't just think of it as, oh, that's pretty decor. I'm like, oh, I see how that could represent something more, having an all golden altar that represents the shining sun coming back for us. And, that all you have to do is make the associations. I do have 3 books with me that I'd like to tell you about if you're interested in maybe learning more or getting deeper. Oh,
Did I move them?
I think you did.
Okay.
I had 3 books. Is it those? It's those 3 right there.
These over here.
Llewellyn ended up doing a series for all the holidays, and I love all the books. And I bought them one at a time, And this one is the Yule book, and it has a lot of great history, stories, and then things to do, examples. What I love about these books so much is that in the back, they just have a plethora of knowledge that you can get to quickly. Like there's a whole section that's just, what do they call this section? Correspondences, because that's what they're supposed to be. And so the whole last part of this book is just correspondences for each of the holidays. So they make this for all 8 of them. You could probably find it used, but I usually get them on sale on Amazon. They're like $10. This one is listed as $12.99 right now, but I don't know how. I've had this a long time. So it could be like, it wouldn't be more than $15 if you wanted to get the book for the holiday. The other book that I use that I like the correspondences for food and stuff is, this says Wicca in the Kitchen. There's 3 different titles for the exact same book, but it's Scott Cunningham's extra book to the magical herbs. This is the kitchen one. So it names a lot of foods, which we're going to be going over.
Mm-hmm. We're doing food next week.
Yes. So this is one of the books that I turn to for ideas. I don't always follow everything that's in there, but it's Scott Cunningham's Wicca in the Kitchen is the one that I have. But like I said, there are 3 titles. They're all the same book. They just reprint them and name them something different, trying to catch the eye of newcomers.
Different audiences.
And then this is also a Scott Cunningham book. It's a really old one. I got this used offline, and it is the Incense, Oils, and Brews. Any of his books they're really about a lot of references and the stories where he went to these cultures and learned about how and what they did for holidays and to heal things and to bring about success or love or whatever. So I really enjoy his books, but this is an old one, and I don't think that they made a new one. I think Buckland ended up making a redo of this one. So, and it's just, I don't know, this one's really old. You can tell how the color.
Yeah, the yellow.
It looks like it was sort of burned or peed on. I can't tell which. It doesn't smell bad, but yeah, 1998. So the year before I got into witchcraft series. Well, 98 would have been at my senior year, yeah. I graduated in 99, but I started in 98, so. That was my year.
Did we cover everything from the list? Okay. We didn't talk about making rune symbols. Or sigils.
I did say the sigils with the name part of it. So making sigils can look really complicated and very artsy, or you can make it really easy. There's tons of information online on how to make your own sigil, and just do it. Experiment with it. I've made a couple of them, and I use them for a while, and then I let it go. It's like, all right, well, I don't need it anymore.
So like if your grandmother, your grandmother's name or your father's name or somebody who's gone and you wanted to make a sigil.
Make a sigil out of their name with the letters. Yeah.
And then put that as part of your ancestor altar.
Yeah.
Or you could even do, for the peace one, I might do peace.
A sigil of peace.
Yeah. Peace, and have it on the what do we call it? The calming altar, is what we call this. The other idea I have, which we can't demonstrate, was to have something by your front door so that as people come through your door, they're kind of like, so you could do like black tourmaline above the door. You could do salt, because that's another thing that's protective, to just kind of leave that negative energy. And you can find all of these references in books. You can probably look them up online, but if you just think about what is the vibe that you want to create, what is the energy that you want, the end goal for your home for this season. What is that? Think about that, and then just go looking for correspondences that relate to that energy that you want to have envelope your house, and your home, and you and all the people who walk through your door and sit at your table for a Christmas dinner or New Year's dinner or whatever it is.
Yes,
it's Christmas dinner we're talking about now. We're not talking about New Year.
Interchangeably. Well, it leads into the same season. So if you guys if you want to look it up online, what time Yule, or the moment that it's the longest night, like where the earth is basically tilted the farthest away from the sun that it's going to get at your location, you can look that up online. So even though we've set the date for Yule being on December 21st, your shortest day may fall before that or after that, just so you know. And it's within about 5 days for everybody in America that I know of, because I've looked it up before. But for people in the north, it happens, I think, later for you guys, and it happened sooner for us. So a couple years ago, Yule was on like the 18th. I was like, what? I missed it? I didn't realize that the exact point that it happens could be earlier or later.
And which is the exact point is the longest day.
Yeah, it's the longest day, right? So, and
longest day or
longest night?
Longest night. Longest night.
Longest night. Because
longest day is 6 months from now.
You know, it's all because of the way that our Earth wobbles on its axis. But we're leaned away from the sun, and that's why we have shorter days. And that is winter is the winter solstice is the beginning of the winter season, which lasts for 3 months. So that's the other important part, because the next holiday after Yule is Imbolc, and that is also a celebration of like, please bring back fire and food. Please help us survive this. It's the coldest, darkest time in February, which is my birthday month, so that's always been fun. But that is when you're really in the stuff, when you're like trying to figure it out and survive, and your cattle and everybody's sleeping around you back in the old days, and it's stinky and just you're boxed in and it sucks. You're running out of food. You're waiting for the lambs to have their first calves so that they can get fresh milk. And that's why it's a whole holiday about like warmth and white and all of that. Everything's white at Imbolc. So yeah, candles. All right, I feel like I talked a lot, and then I was just going to go into another holiday. So with that, those are the 3 altars that we showed you, that we talked about, that you could do for your house, that are inconspicuous, that are kind of undercover witchcraft when you learn the symbology of it. And remember, if you have a wreath right now, you have a symbol for the sun right now. And how you choose to view that or honor it or put any other thought into it is totally up to you. And then, of course, Christmas lights represent candles. So if you have Christmas lights up, that's what you have. You have little tiny electric candles going everywhere. So it's another just symbol of the holiday. And if you have a Christmas tree, that's your evergreen. That is your evergreen tree. That's the representation of that life goes on, the cycle completes.
So you can see how these two really blend together, the Yule celebration and the Christmas, because before Christmas, it was Yule, wasn't it?
It was Yule, yeah.
Yeah, before the Christians came in and said, no, you can't worship your sun god, so you have to worship our God, and then they changed it.
Well, right. So I'm not going to get into fact checking or anything, but from what I've read, right, Jesus was born in the summer, but they couldn't get people to convert, so they made his birthday in the winter to go along with the birth of the sun, which happens at the winter solstice. So they can't do it on the same day, because that's just, I don't know, they'd all go to hell or something maybe. So they'd have to do it, later. And for whatever reason, it's December 25th. You can look that up. It's very interesting to get into the the wars of who tells history best. So that's what I like to believe. I like to believe that there's that. Jesus and the sun were born at the same time, or in the same week, because he had to be. How could he be born in the summer? That's the longest day. That's when the sun is at its most mature. So they had to switch their holiday around. We won't tell them. We'll just continue celebrating in secrecy and being like, yeah, cheers, Merry Christmas.
All right.
Yeah.
And with that, we bid you a good night. And thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for being with us.
And hope that you have some more knowledge about altars.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Well, yeah. Tracy asked me, is it pyrite and sand in the jar? This little jar from Japan, this guy. This, you know what it is? I think it is literally just colored rocks, honestly. I don't think that it's an actual stone of any kind. I think they just paint like gravelly stone stuff.
They're very uniform though.
Yeah.
The shapes of
Are
them.
they?
So I think so. They're all like exactly the same.
I don't know.
Well, maybe not.
No.
Okay.
It does look like that, but I think it is painted Tiny gravel.
Gravel.
That's what I think it is, because it's used for, like, they put it in you guys have seen the little trays where people have the sand gardens and they do the little raking with it. Little Zen gardens. They have a tray like that. They fill it with this, and then they have these bundles. I should have brought one. They have these bundles of incense that they light, and there's like 50 and 25 probably a bundle. They light them all at the same time, and then they stick it straight up in there. This is why you don't stick chopsticks straight up in your food. It's a symbol of death. So they stick the incense straight up in this sand stuff and let it burn down. So the gold for them, this gold sand that is beside the grave sites, represents honoring them. And that's why I have it, because I thought it was cool. And I lived right by a massive Japanese cemetery I used to go visit all the time. They don't, because they live in the mountains, they don't put their dead in the ground. A lot of it is the on top stuff. What are they called? Miss Death Industry Woman.
They're crypts, I think.
Crypts, yeah. There's crypts all over hillsides. Very pretty.
Like in New Orleans, they're all above ground. Is that like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Those are crypts or mausoleums, I guess, is what they would be.
Because they don't dig into the ground.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, Tracy. Thank you for asking. And we should say hi to you guys. Hi, Jenny and Tracy. Thank you guys for joining us. I think that's all I can see in the names right now. But we will see you next week, okay?
All right.
Mwah. I hope you have a great week. And
Bye.
we'll talk to you about food next week.
Food.
Yum. All right. Bye, you guys.